Vince Dizon is a business coach who also happens to be a yoga teacher. And that is an unusual combination right there. And here's another unusual combination. As a yoga teacher, he is certified in both Ashtanga and Yin Yoga. So, in a way, we can easily see that Vince seems to have mastered the art of combining seemingly opposite worlds and coming up with a unique combination, such as mindfulness and taking action. At first, I thought the combination would be a little bit confusing, but as I got to listen to him some more, I realized that people can use mindfulness to actually come up with better action plans for the future. So, as a short introduction, Vince has 570 hours of yoga teacher training, and he has taught yoga for more than 500 hours. During the pandemic, as a way to help people who suddenly found themselves unable to go to yoga studios, he put up a YouTube channel and he has uploaded more than 100 videos on Yin Yoga. And the link to his YouTube channel is on the description. He also offers coaching services through Urban Ashram, not just to yoga clients, but also to anyone who is interested in the kind of coaching that he does for people. So this 45-minute interview will begin with a 12-minute mindfulness meditation session. And then after that, we will hear how he made the leap from being a marketing executive to heed the call of being a yoga teacher and a coach. We will also hear how his clients can benefit from using meditation to become better at leading their teams. So let's meet Vince Dizon. Hi, Vince. How are you today?
Hi, RV. Very, very, very good. Thank you. So it's really good to start our day with that gratitude in our heart. And maybe, if it's okay with you, I'll suggest we start this conversation together, taking a few moments to allow ourselves to arrive, to be fully here. If you or your viewers are comfortable, you can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open if that is what is helpful for you right now. But just try to sit, try to do nothing, try to think of nothing. Just try to notice, try to be conscious, try to be aware. Wherever you are, whatever time that you are listening to this video, you are in the present moment. And in this present moment, there are tens, hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of miracles that are happening within you and outside of you. And if we fail to notice these miracles, we will never appreciate and know how blessed we are. As you sit, can you try to bring your attention to your forehead? The head is where our brain is. That allows us to imagine, to create, to think, to make great things possible. Try to direct your attention to your eyes as you're either gazing inwards if the eyes are closed, or if you're looking at certain things around you. Try to notice if you're appreciating or judging or learning. It's interesting that the location of our eyes are close to our brain. Imagine how, whenever you see something, how your perception of what you see affects your reality and how your life is. Direct your attention to your nose. Notice the inhales and exhales that pass through your nose. A lot of times we take for granted our breath, and especially during these days, a lot of people, they need life support to breathe. How does it feel like to really cherish each breath? After the eyes are our nose. Might be interesting also why the nose comes after the eyes and before the mouth. A lot of times, our breath, when we use it, can change a lot of outcomes in our life for the better. Viktor Frankl said that between stimulus, a lot of times this is what we see through our eyes, and response, a lot of times this is what we do with our mouths. Between stimulus and response is our power. And usually, our breath can help us use this power better. Taking 1, 2, 3 breaths before acting, before sending that email, before speaking. Direct your attention to your mouth. Can you relax and soften the tongue, the mouth? Have a space in between your top set of teeth and the low set of teeth. Just relax the mouth. Do you know that somehow, even with the eyes and the nose closer to the brain, there's this direct link of our tongue and our mind. Whenever our mind thinks of something, it triggers the tongue either to say something good, something bad. And so it's nice to take that breath and try to be aware before we speak. So many beautiful things in the world have been created just by speaking. So many beautiful works, songs, speeches, directions. The mouth can be a weapon for violence. or it can also be an instrument of peace. Can you relax your neck? Can you relax your shoulders? Can you relax your chest? Soften the chest where your heart is. Relax your belly where all your digestive system, all the organs are all working within you miraculously to be able to give you that life, that energy, that power. We need power and fuel to be able to carry out all our obligations, to move us closer to our dreams. So all of these are working in each moment to give us this energy and ability to be able to do things. After all, energy in reality is our capacity to be able to do things. Relax the groin area, this area where our reproductive abilities are. Soften these areas. There are so many blessings in this area. This is also where we are able to detoxify waste from our body. Relax your thighs, relax your calves, relax your feet, relax your arms and your hands. All of these parts of our body, so numerous but all important, are all our blessings and miracles. And it's good to always try to remind ourselves of how blessed we are. Notice what you can in your surroundings. You don't need to analyze and think. Just appreciate the air touching your skin. What you hear around you could be birds, could be people. All of these are all signs of life, reminders that we are fully alive. And we'll take a few clearing breaths. Please inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale through your nose and exhale through the mouth. Last one here. Inhale goodness through your nose and exhale anxiety, worries into the air as we bring ourselves fully in the present moment, right here, right now. And maybe open your eyes. How did that feel, RV?
Wow. Who would have thought that we would have a meditation session embedded within this conversation? That was amazing.
It's good to take these moments of rest. A lot of times our mind, our brain, our body, they're always on the go, always busy. Imagine how much stronger, how much better your days will be if you take these precious time, these moments to really rest, turn inwards, and just feel yourself. It's not good to always, have a stressed body. It's always good to try to connect within, refuel, and have that relaxed body, relaxed mind, relaxed heart.
Being a yoga teacher, Coach Vince, I'm sure that your students are very familiar with how you can get them to relax. But for this afternoon though, I wanted to ask, considering that aside from being a yoga teacher, you're also a credentialed coach. of the International Coach Federation. And I'm wondering, like, what kind of unique flavor do you bring to a coaching session, given your background as a Yin Yoga teacher?
Thank you for mentioning that, RV. When we entered the pandemic, I realized that all of us would have to look inwards and try to find what gifts we can share to the world to try to help other people. And one of those gifts, as you have mentioned, was Yin Yoga. So I teach in yoga studios in Manila, Urban Ashram, Beyond Yoga, and Rebel Yoga. And the studios were forced to close for safety reasons during the pandemic. And instead of keeping these Yin Yoga classes private, I wanted to open it up to the public. And I decided to share all of the videos on YouTube. So right now there are over 100 videos there, free Yin Yoga practices for everyone. And please do try it. The YouTube channel is called Yin Yoga Garage, and all the videos are there. It can help you in mindfulness. Now, to your question, how does this skill of teaching mindfulness in yoga and me as a credentialed coach, what is the flavor, what is the type of coaching that coachees are able to experience in each moment of our life, whether it's business, whether it's family, relationships, and maybe even time with ourselves, always requires us to have this degree of mindfulness. Imagine when you are with your son or daughter, it's such a precious moment. It can be a learning moment for the kid. It can also be a teaching moment for you. It can also be a moment that they can remember forever. Every moment with the children are formative moments. And if you're more mindful, for example, in how you are able to show up in each moment of your life with your kids, being a role model, being cheerful, trying to um, establish this cheerful environment by being mindful. Imagine the impact that would have to your home, to your wife, to your husband, to your family. And then in the corporate setting, a lot of times we are always focused on goals, on the hard aspects. But really, we're working with people. There are people all around us. A lot of times we come into a position wherein work is no longer churned through a laptop, but through collaboration with people. And imagine if you are mindlessly interacting with people, just using them like your laptop as instruments and not really caring for them, being compassionate to them. What are the consequences and repercussions of that? And how much more rewarding would the work environment be if people around you didn't have this feeling like they are walking on eggshells, that they have to be very careful? I always hear this comment that it's lonely in the top for leaders. So, how can it be not lonely for you? And it usually starts a lot of times with that mindfulness, just being conscious, being aware. Just like how we had this body scan, this meditation earlier, and you had awareness of how each part of your body feels. Imagine if you can be aware even how your voice, how loud or soft it is, and how it lands on other people. Why do you shout sometimes to your staff or to other people? Is it a subconscious programming that you have to, I'm the boss, I have to be aggressive, assertive, have a certain voice? Or is there a particular reason why you're speaking in a particular way? And is there a better way? That's where it comes in. So in all the coaching conversations, it always goes, a lot of times goes back to that. What will be the impact if you get mad, if you call their attention, if you call the attention of your staff in this particular way? Is there another way? Is there a better timing? So these are all coaching moments. There's no little or big thing, when it comes to coaching topics, any particular topic, as long as you want a good outcome, as long as there's something that, you want to expand your view in things, be more mindful of more aspects so that there are less blind spots. These are all moments wherein coaching could help.
I see the parallelism between what you're saying, Coach Vince, between coaching and yoga. I suppose with yoga, people develop some level of awareness with their bodies and they get to try poses that are unfamiliar. Whereas with coaching, what I'm hearing from you is they get to become aware of their impact on other people, something as simple as the tone of their voice. And with that awareness, I suppose, comes a certain freedom to choose how they're going to interact differently with their environment. But as you were talking about that, Coach Vince, I distinctly remember that before you became a yoga teacher, you were actually a marketing executive. So I wanted to ask you something about that transition. How did you make that transition?
Thank you for reminding me about that. For over 12 years, I also did my duties in the corporate setting as an employee. I worked in brand, the term is brand management for an FMCG, a telco, a pharma, cable entertainment company. And during my 12-year journey, I was always trying my best, but somehow there was always something that didn't feel right. I was able to achieve in a few of the roles. Sometimes my bosses or my colleagues would even call me a high flyer or an achiever in certain roles. But still, it felt like I was suffering inside. I didn't feel I was in my element. Not like right now as a coach and as I do my yoga teaching. I feel that I have found my element wherein I can contribute to myself, to my family, to other people. I feel that meaning and fulfillment. And maybe to answer your question, maybe that is how I was able to do the transition, looking for the meaning, looking for the fulfillment, and really just giving yourself to what you want and what you feel would be helpful to other people. The transition, of course, came with a lot of difficulties also, but it has taught me that, yes, as human beings, we have our strengths. And, it's like this example I encountered. They say that even the strongest fish, if you take it out of water, even if you put it in another gold plated everything environment, it will not thrive. It will not do well. So it's good to find your strengths. But at the same time, what I also learned is that we are not fish, we are not trees, we are human beings. And human beings have this ability to adapt. Our minds, there's so much potential you can learn. Before, I used to work the whole day on Excel, Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint, and then doing decks and preparations. I never thought that I would be able to teach yoga, learn yoga, teach it, all the elements in the body. When I was studying as a yoga teacher, I was always thinking a doctor would do good as a yoga teacher because they know their anatomy, they know bones, they know pelvis, they know the spine. I was just a marketing executive. How would I be able to learn these things? And even when I started my yoga, my first teacher training wasn't a Yin Yoga teacher training. It was what most people will say the hardest yoga. It was an Ashtanga teacher training. And my classmates were already teachers. And then I came fresh from quitting my last job in December. And then in January, after Christmas, I jumped into this teacher training and did it. And I learned. The body adapted, the mind adapted. It was a lesson to me that as long as you want to do something, you just have to repeat and repeat and repeat it. You have to practice it, and then until it becomes you. Even as we have this conversation, it's still a learning journey for me. I guess it's going to be a forever transition. Maybe that's the difference with work that I do as a teacher and as a coach. Before, as an employee, clearly you see your path when you get promoted as a brand assistant. You become a assistant brand manager, a brand manager, a general manager. It's very clear and it's so easy to explain to other people what kind of work you do, what your position is. But when you're doing something that does not have that clear structure, it kind of gets harder to explain what you do. And then the metrics of how you're advancing, are you advancing? Those are part of it. It comes with the territory of it. But what's important, I guess, is every day a little, you improve. Every day you just work hard. You make sure that each present moment is used to try to bring you towards a better future. Those are all just things that I continue to apply every day. Not a day wasted. I teach as much as I can in a day. I also try to have as much people to help through one on one coaching. I might feel tired at the end of the day, but my heart feels so full. Maybe those are what encourages me to keep on going, to keep on teaching. And I just continue grinding every day. Another beautiful thing about this journey is it has taught me not to be attached to outcomes and goals. It's just to give yourself, to try to help other people. In the corporate setting, every day we have goals, we have a task list that we have to finish to lead us towards those goals. That's a very good and effective route, but there's also that route of just constantly, if you can afford it, what if you just give more than is expected of you, and it's in the journey of doing, and then not being attached and confined to a particular outcome, and then the outcome will just follow. I guess, it's like, let's say, money or success. If you work and work towards that particular outcome, then what if you don't achieve it? But if you work and work to what is meaningful, what is fulfilling, regardless if you attain those goals or not, then just bringing it out to the world, the work is already something. The meaning and the fulfillment can be the reward in itself. Of course, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong way to go through life. It's just what is your truth, what is true for you.
Hearing you talk about your life now, where you're not attached to outcomes, where there is tangibly a certain flow with which things happen, versus maybe the time when you were a marketing executive and you had goals to meet. What I really am curious, Coach Vince, now is how did you make that leap of faith to follow your bliss, to follow your calling of being a yoga teacher?
It's the first time that I'll be sharing this. It is my truth. It might not necessarily be your truth or the truth of any of your viewers. But just to answer your question, when I look around me, I see a lot of retired executives. After they retire, it's either they look for another job or maybe resting after and doing nothing. And to connect it to while I was working, and then there's constantly this chronic seed in my mind that maybe there's something bigger, a more purposeful vision that I can devote my life to. I just ask myself, why do I have to wait for my retirement to be able to pursue it? Why can't I start doing it now? And maybe it's an uncommon thinking, but maybe if I start it now, I won't have to retire and I can just keep on doing it. And it won't be like once I finish my 60, 50 year of duty in the corporate world, I look for it or might not have the energy to do these things. Why not start it now and never retire from doing it? Just keep on doing it. And how many people I would be able to help through coaching 20 years from now. How many people would I be able to help become calmer, become kinder, more compassionate, and more mindful through yoga practice 20 years from now? And then how also it can change my life. You see, all of these, even yoga, it's not about postures, it's not about breathing, it's not about techniques. Yes, these are helpful techniques, but all of these are all a way of life. How you can be calmer in your life. For me now, it's like I reversed it and reverse engineering. And I'm doing things now for the long haul. And maybe that's where it comes from, not being attached to outcomes. Because for me, it's a longer term vision of how I can help create a more peaceful world, one person at a time, a more peaceful corporate setting for people I coach so that their work areas don't just constantly have to be like battlefields or battlegrounds wherein voice will be their ammo or weapon. How can it be more mindful conversations? How can that be more productive? There's this belief that stuck in my mind. There's this saying I heard that there's so much more you can accomplish in speaking in a compassionate manner compared to an hour, 2 hours of high strung argument, which is unproductive. That's mindfulness. And sometimes this arises as a coaching topic. Imagine how much more rewarding the rest of the life of the person that we get to speak with when they have that awareness of that pattern. They resort to impatience, to not accepting no's and fighting really. And maybe is there a better way?
So, what stood out for me very clearly from what you just said is that while other people tolerate or put up with their existing job because they know they probably need to save money or save up for retirement, you actually had the courage to do what you really want to do. And I know that as coaches, we don't give advice, but what is a nugget of wisdom that you could share with people who are thinking of doing that, of quitting their corporate job and following what really makes them happy?
I guess the key there is your self talk. It starts there. If you use words like, I want to escape where I am now, how can you reframe it? Maybe by thinking, I love my family so much that I want to show up in each present moment with them. And I want to be in each present moment with them as a happy person, as a fulfilled person, living a life of meaning. So, how can I do that with my life? So, instead of escaping, you're doing things, you're finding better things because you love them. If you're really unhappy with what you're doing, how can you be an effective provider in the long run if in the end you're going to be boastful, let's say if you're a guy to your wife that, hey, I work long hours for you, and it damages the relationship? Or if you are constantly drunk because that is your way to decompress because you're unhappy, how does that impact the children and even your health? I'm not prescribing this for everyone. Again, my truth is different from your truth. And that's the key for you to find your truth, because there are people who find their excitement and fulfillment in achieving what they do in the corporate setting. There are people who, when they look within and examine their skill set and ask themselves, what else do I want to do? The answer is this: I like doing my job. I find fulfillment. I find meaning in the contribution that I give to the organization, to the vision, to the mission of the organization. And I will not be able to earn this in any other thing that I do. So this is who I am. This is what I do. And I'm proud to be an engineer, to be an architect, to be an accountant. The key there, to simplify it, we hear a lot of times this word purpose. Find your purpose. What is your purpose? And to simplify that, maybe you ask yourself, a plate, what is the purpose of a plate? It's for people to put food on to eat. What is the purpose of utensils? To be able to eat. What is the purpose of light? It's to give brightness. So what is your purpose? So it doesn't have to be, a profound thing. It's just that in this world, in the evolution of this world, what is your purpose? Are you a screwdriver? Are you a light? Do you churn Excels? Do you do good reports? Do you help management achieve their goals? Do you hire the best people? Do you negotiate well? So, what is your purpose? And it doesn't have to be, everyone doesn't have to be a teacher, a yoga teacher, a coach. But for me, even when I was in the corporate setting, when I look back in my self awareness, I wasn't the best person. When I compare myself with my contemporaries, there were always product managers who, when I look at their output, I felt they were really so much better than me. But that was just me being honest to myself. But I had a role to fulfill, a job and a responsibility. So during the time, when I look back, I think I was applying coaching to be able to achieve the same success that they were achieving. So let's say in a meeting, I just make sure that I have the best idea that I can come up with, the best presentation that I can present. But I know that it's not the best at the back of my head because I know and see how other people are able to give directions clearly from the onset. But me, when I look back, I applied coaching by presenting something that fits my level, but at the same time drawing out ideas from people around. And after each meeting, I was sure that the output of our meeting and the action steps are so much better than, in my opinion, the other brand managers because it was a result of collaboration. And I felt that was coaching. So I just figured if this was what I was applying in the past, why don't I make it my profession? And I've been doing it for the past 3 years. And the coaches have shared that the coaching was strong enough to be life changing for them. There were a lot of coaches who have also advanced, been promoted to higher positions because of that self awareness of their strengths, of their abilities, of their passions, of their obligations and responsibilities, and being real, really, to what their needs are. It's not, sometimes that's also one aspect of mindfulness, not being in your ivory tower in having so much sense of delusion. Sometimes the drive also comes from being real. If you need to provide for your family, sometimes that can be the source of sustainable passion. But it starts with that awareness. If you don't have that awareness and you're dragging your feet, oh, I have to make them finish college, I have to do this and all of the obligations, how unhappy will that journey be for you? But when you embrace and reconcile with that reality that I really have to do this, this is what I have to devote my life to be able to put food on the table. When you embrace it, and then it brings out all the best in you and it makes you happy. You show up on your workplace knowing that you need your work, and at the same time you also show up at home with that happiness, eagerness, excitement, knowing that you did everything at work because you're doing it for them. So that's mindfulness, you see. Yeah, a lot of times we get lost in the journey, but sometimes coaching also helps you bring yourself back, refuel, re-energize, put things into perspective, and really know what your priorities are.
There are so many things that I got from there, Coach Vince. And I guess the first thing that you said was reframing. If they see that the urgent need really is to put food on the table and not quit their job, it's a matter of how should you see the situation in such a way that it's empowering for them instead of disempowering, and that they should be careful with what kind of language they use to describe their experience at work. And then I also got something related to finding your purpose, whatever it might be, and aligning with that if that is really what's going to make you happy. And what's fascinating in the way that you were talking about this, Coach Vince, is that I saw you transition. Like earlier in the conversation, I saw the yoga teacher side of you, the one that was very zen-like. And then as you talked about your experience in the corporate world, I guess the coach side of you was very evident now because you talked about giving people the opportunity to contribute what they are very good at, working from a position of strength and all of that. And it's very interesting to see two sides of you in one person. So I wanted to ask you now, Coach Vince, given the fact that mindfulness is something that is clearly in your DNA, if someone goes to you for coaching with that goal, like, "Hey, I want to be more mindful," like what are some of the things that they can expect when they begin to work with a coach like you, who is also a yoga teacher and a mindfulness expert?
What they can expect is a lot of inward contemplation. We started this session by grounding, and that grounding can also be applied in life. How can you ground yourself to your current situation? This is actually very relevant, especially these days during the pandemic. A lot of people are in trouble, losing their jobs. A lot of people are taking pay cuts. It's a struggle, it's hard. And when you're able to ground yourself to this reality and embrace it changes you. It makes you more humble. It makes you be more faithful, hopeful. It brings out the good sides of ourselves. So sometimes we have these stories in our minds. Our mind is full of so many stories that we have created, that were influenced by things around us, by our biography, by our experiences. And what they can expect is a review of those stories. How real are those stories? Are those stories empowering or limiting? Are those stories productive or destructive? Are those stories helpful or not? And it starts with questions. It starts with really looking inwards and reflecting. In my sessions, it's like I'm holding a mirror in front of you. It's a mirror wherein you won't only see the superficial parts, your face, the stories, but a mirror that has this x ray ability to be able to really find out what are the stories behind those stories, what is behind the face, and how to make things better moving forward. Each session, I give myself fully everything about myself. I'm not perfect with regards to mindfulness. No one, I think, is. After all, we are all human beings, not angels, not saints. And that definition in itself, just being human beings, maybe can remind us to give ourselves permission to make those mistakes and to accept ourselves, forgive ourselves for all those mistakes, and even other people, and just to constantly move forward. There's a lot, really. There's a lot of beautiful things out there. There's so much potential if we only give it a chance. Even coaching. I know that a lot of people would have their minds closed on self reflection, introspection. I don't like that. That's badui. But if you open yourself to it, you'll discover so much beautiful things. To use this story of a famous yoga teacher, he says that a lot of things in our life are like your view when you're watching from the window of an airplane. So when you see from the window of a flying plane, clouds, islands, mountains, even the sea, when you see it from the sky, it's either black, blue, or green. So when you ask someone riding a plane what is an ocean, then the answer is that black, green, or blue body of water down there. But when you ask a diver what an ocean is, they'll describe to you the richness, the color, the corals, all the marine life that you don't see. So that's, I guess, how it is in life. So many times, even with the people around us, we tag them, we brand them, we bucket them into certain, we judge them. And how can we go deeper so that we discover the potential in them, the light, what they can offer, what the beautiful things that they can do. And the same with our life. So if we just have this perception that our life is just life, it's just suffering, it's just working, it's just doing this, it's just providing, how can you see the color? How can you live your life in high definition, more mindfully? So again, I'm not perfect. I've also had my own mistakes, but it's a journey. And it's a journey I would also like to invite you to travel with me.
I guess that's a great segue for those people who would like to travel with you in that journey of mindfulness. Like, could you tell us, Coach Vince, what is your preferred method for being contacted by anyone who either wants to get coached or wants to engage with you, maybe through something else like yoga or meditation?
In YouTube, please do subscribe to Yin Yoga Garage, where you'll see all the full Yin Yoga classes. That's all for you to practice and to benefit from. In Facebook, just search for Vince Yin Yoga. Please also check out the Urban Ashram Yoga website. I offer coaching there for working professionals in the corporate setting, but anyone can avail of the coaching services in the Urban Ashram helpline. It's there to help everyone, especially during this pandemic. We're here to help. We're here to serve. Please always remember you are the priority. Give yourself self care, self gentleness, self compassion, self love, so that you will be able to give the best of yourselves to those you love, to the community, to your work, and to the world. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to speak with you. I really appreciate it and I enjoyed this conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach Vince. Thank you for sharing the meditation session a while ago. Thank you for giving us a glimpse of what you personally had to go through as you made the transition from the corporate world to doing something you obviously love very much. And thank you for giving them insights as to how they can bring mindfulness in their day to day life. Thank you.